Today, you'll learn how to take back control of your life. Imagine being on a boat in the middle of a river. You have no oars, no compass, and you're simply letting yourself drift with the current. Suddenly, you hear the roar of a waterfall. You realize you're only 5 meters away from falling over the edge, but it's already too late to escape the current. This is the perfect metaphor for how many people live their lives, dragged along by events, fears, and daily challenges, never truly deciding where they want to go until it's too late. But today, everything changes. In this video, I'll show you how to grab the oars and finally take control of your destiny. If you follow the steps I'll share with you until the end, you'll no longer be a victim of the current, you'll become the one who shapes your own future. Tony Robbins, the most famous motivational coach in the world, says that inside each of us lives an extraordinary force, a sleeping giant, just waiting to be awakened to break the chains that keep us trapped. And today, we'll explore the core principles of his book that has inspired millions of successful people worldwide, Awaken the Giant Within. We'll go through 7 steps taken from the book to help you turn failures into success, break limiting beliefs, and completely reprogram your mind. This is a method for anyone who wants to stop drifting through life and finally start living. Designing your course. The first fundamental step is to stop believing that the odds are always against you and to accept that you are the one responsible for the changes in your life. To awaken the giant within, you need what Tony calls an inspiring vision, something far beyond a vague wish. To create it, you must define what you want in 4 key areas. Number 1. Career and business. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Number 2, personal growth. What skills or emotional states do you want to master? Number 3, experiences and material goals. What experiences do you want to live or what things would you love to own? And number 4, contribution. How do you want to help others and leave your mark on the world? Practical exercise. Take 5 minutes and write down everything you want in each of these areas, without limits, without worrying about money or feasibility. Keep writing until you feel excitement rising at the thought of achieving those goals. This vision isn't just for dreaming. It becomes a powerful force that helps you resist the passive pull of life and start shaping your destiny according to your values. Once your course is set, this vision becomes the engine that will carry you through the next steps. Because remember, if you don't decide your direction, your environment will decide it for you. Reprogramming your thinking. Why do so many people fail at their good intentions? Because they base their decisions on avoidance, the desire to escape negative situations, which may push them to change, but never gives them clear instructions on what to do. Saying, I don't want to be overweight anymore, or I don't want money problems, creates desire, but not a plan of action. This is where cognitive reframing comes in, turning a prohibition into a positive instruction. Instead of focusing on what you don't want, tell your brain what to do. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to start saving money. This creates clarity, and it must be taken even further by breaking the goal down into smaller pieces. For example, getting in shape becomes, I'll start working out. I'll follow a healthy diet, which can be broken down again to, I'll only buy food that supports my diet. I'll start with just 5 minutes of Pilates every day. When you break big goals into small, achievable actions, your brain receives precise instructions, and taking action becomes dramatically easier. Relentless action and learning from failure. Once the goal is set, you must take action immediately, regardless of obstacles. Determination is what separates success from mere desire. Think of Soichiro Honda. While still a student, Honda dreamed of building his own engine company. That was his inspiring vision, the kind that, as Tony Robbins says, shakes people out of apathy. But his journey was brutally interrupted by World War II. Honda needed to build a factory, but cement had become almost impossible to find due to the war. For most people, this would have meant the end of the dream, an external failure beyond their control. But Honda refused to be a victim of circumstances. Instead of giving up, he did something extraordinary. He developed his own method of producing cement. Despite having no background in construction materials, his commitment to his vision pushed him to innovate in a completely unfamiliar field, allowing him to build the factory despite the national shortage. That willingness to move forward no matter what is what made the difference. What started as a student's struggle against scarcity became the foundation of the global Honda brand we know today. The lesson is clear. When your goal is crystal clear and your commitment absolute, the environment stops being a limitation and becomes a series of problems to solve with creativity and persistence. By choosing to row upstream instead of accepting fate, Honda shaped his own future. So if you stumble along the way, don't get discouraged. Analyze the failure. Learn from it. If you're trying to change habits and you relapse, notice, when does it happen? In what situations? Around which people? Then work to eliminate or manage those triggers. With this awareness, your second or third attempt will be far more effective than the first. Every mistake becomes valuable data to correct your course toward success. The engine of change. Everything we do is driven by the desire to avoid pain and gain pleasure. If you haven't moved towards your dreams, it's because your brain associates more pain with action than with staying the same. To change, you must learn to control these forces instead of letting them control you. Here's how to do it. Number 1, associate intense pain with inaction. Visualize yourself 10 or 20 years from now still procrastinating. Feel the weight of regret. See the cost to you and to the people you love of never having used your potential. Number 2, associate intense pleasure with action. If a task feels heavy, link it to something enjoyable. Tony Robbins says that he overcame his resistance to writing by allowing himself to listen to his favorite music only while writing. Over time, the pleasure outweighed the discomfort. You can also break bad habits by associating them with social discomfort. For example, if you cheat on your diet, force yourself to shout out loud the worst insult you were ever called as a child, especially if you're around others. The embarrassment creates such strong resistance that you'll think twice next time. Breaking limiting beliefs. Your beliefs are often generalizations about the past based on misinterpreted, painful experiences. Fail once and you might label yourself as incompetent, turning that belief into a self-fulfilling prophecy. To break these beliefs, think like a lawyer in a courtroom. Question the source. If you believe you're not creative, ask who said that. Were they an expert or just trying to put you down? Look for counterexamples. Recall moments when you succeeded despite thinking it was impossible. Then replace the belief with an empowering one. If you think, I'll never succeed because I'm too young, reframe it as, because I'm young, I have energy and a fresh perspective others don't, and that gives me an edge. Reinforce this new belief with real evidence until it becomes certainty. Powerful words and questions. The words you use shape your reality. Robbins encourages expanding your positive vocabulary. Don't say, I'm okay. Say, I feel amazing. For negative emotions, use softer words that cool you down. Say, oh man, instead of explosive profanity. This linguistic shift changes your emotional state and can turn anger into a smile instead of a downward spiral. The same applies to the questions you ask yourself. If you constantly ask, why does this always happen to me? You focus on suffering. Instead, ask, what's good about this situation? What can I learn from this? How can solving this improve my life? These proactive questions give your brain clear instructions, turning problems into opportunities for growth. Values and public commitment. Without clarity on your values and desires, your decisions will always be shaky. Create a clear list of what you want and what you want to avoid at all costs. Ask yourself, why is this change important to me? Without a deep why, motivation fades quickly. Then make a public commitment. When you declare your goals and share your progress with others, you create social pressure based on the principle of consistency. Once you've spoken your goal out loud, your brain will do everything it can to avoid contradicting itself. Knowing that someone is watching increases accountability and reduces the temptation to quit. Your word becomes a real commitment. However, there is a silent enemy that can make every technique you've learned useless. A substance produced by your brain that makes decisions for you without you even realizing it, and pushes you to quit every time you try to change. In the next video you see appearing, I'll reveal what it is, how it works, and most importantly, how to keep it under control, so you can apply these principles long-term and finally become the person you know you're meant to be.